Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe. Hey, one of our favorite guys is back.
Yes, and he's a hot one. Got it?
I see what you
Yeah,
did there.
thank you very much. I'm here all week, hopefully. Jason Sautel, one of our favorites, as Dan mentioned, the author of The Rescuer and so much more, podcaster, and, maybe someday, a movie about his life, which would be really, really cool, right? With two washed up radio talk show hosts just happened to walk by in the scene.
Carrying a fire hose or something. Who knows?
Yeah, something like that. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing great, and gentlemen, I think we can totally make that happen. There's a scene where I am actually, hanging out with some homeless guys. No, I'm just
joking. Perfect. Rick's got the beard. I mean, I could put a fake one on, and we got it.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Hey, Jason, so good to see you. Love reading your stuff on Facebook and what's going on with you. Now, I'm going to bring this up because I saw it on your post here. You and Christy. It says pulling down some stuff for book number 2. Tell us about what's going on.
We are. Book number 2, it's still a long ways out. It hasn't really landed anywhere yet, but I'm definitely moving forward on it. And it's going to be a devotional this time, but it's going to be written a little different. It's going to be from everything I've experienced in the fire department and then break it down into a way that people can relate to it on an everyday basis, meaning walking in the darkness. Well, obviously going into a house fire is very dark and very hot, but being able to pull that out and bring some scriptural lessons into a person's everyday life, that's what I'm going to be doing there.
Awesome. And we're so excited. I mean, obviously the first book, The Rescuer, it's been doing well. It's been touching lives. Wanted to talk to you real quick. We talked a little bit before we went on, just the craziness going on in the world and just the story I saw. I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, where a firefighter was shot and killed while he's in the line of duty, while he's working. And it's just heartbreaking. And you were called down to talk to some firefighters to kind of help talk them through this. How do you handle something like this, Jason?
Well, first off, it's at the Stockton Fire Department, and it happened yesterday morning, approximately 5:45. I don't have all the circumstances surrounding it of why, which everyone, obviously, including myself, wants to know happened. But a fire captain was shot while in the line of duty and killed while extinguishing a fire in downtown Stockton, California. And it's just rough because it feels like there's just a war going on, which obviously there is. Anyone who reads the Bible understands that, but it's just getting stronger. And now it's affecting those who help on a daily basis. And to answer your question on how to deal with it, the best way to deal with it is just to show up and listen to the guys. I mean, I've never experienced that kind of hurt of having a coworker shot and killed in the line of duty, but I have experienced the line of duty death in other circumstances while fighting fire. And the best thing to do is just show up, listen, and for the public out there, just throw up a prayer for our first responders nationwide, if you wouldn't mind right now, because they really need it.
For sure.
And, as I mentioned earlier, because I'm the old guy here, growing up, I never heard anything like that. In fact, my middle son, Jake, who has special needs. Well, him and I will go out in town, and we don't have a big town that we live in here in Loganville, but the firefighters are always out with their big truck. So when we see them, I want Jake to see them. They'll take pictures with him. They do what firefighters do. Besides what they do, when they're fighting fires and taking, saving people. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just crazy. So we want to lift them up, in prayer.
Yeah, definitely do that, because the coolest thing about being a fireman is engaging the public, because our job is like the police. We're there to help, but our job is a little different. We show up and try to handle the personal needs of the person, put the fire out, bandage up, whether they were the bad guy or the good guy. Our job is not to judge. It's just to help them. Well, the police, they're also, if you look at it, they're doing the same thing. They're even helping the criminals by trying to pull them out of that life of crime. But the attack that comes back on us is just unacceptable. So having your son, be there and having the public be there, the firefighters, they love it. I loved it when we got to have people of all ages and all groups to just hang out with us, because it was actually face-to-face time with the people that we served. And there's nothing that blessed me more than hanging out with those that we got to serve when it wasn't a tragedy and it was just, in public and having a good time. So I appreciate you doing that for you guys.
Yeah, it builds respect. It always has, and it builds respect in our kids. Same with the police and those that respond. So
Mhm.
Stockton, the last thing I remember, Stockton, I used to live in California. Is that a notorious area? I mean, is that a
Yeah.
place where it's just dangerous to do anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, we could have the political discussion about everything going downhill out here in California, but I want to keep it positive. Pray for California, because as I always tell you guys, just because I live here, I'm not of California. But politics in this state they've put a drain on any of one of the larger cities, especially those that are in the Central Valley, the farming communities.
Mhm.
They've taken a heavy hit over the past decade that I've personally seen. And whenever you see economies go down, you obviously see crime go up.
Mhm.
And that, again, is why I love going into those areas and spreading the gospel as much as I can through the first responders, churches, and the public at large.
Jason, how's the podcast going? You love to come on and talk with all kinds of folks about all kinds of things. How's it going?
It's going so great. Season 2 is getting ready to wrap up, and it's been a roller coaster ride. We've talked political, we've talked with people who've gone through personal tragedies, and actually tomorrow, one of my favorite shows is going to air. It's Sonia Hunter is coming on, and she's an author, but her book is about her losing a child and her husband in a car accident, and her third child had spinal injury and brain damage from the injury, and just hearing the message of hope that she puts out there is amazing. So the podcast is going great, but after season 2, I might take a little pause because I am starting to work on the movie stuff, book number 2, and I'm getting a little, I wouldn't say overwhelmed, but I want to make sure I balance my time so I get the best products out there of each thing I'm doing.
Yeah. Smart.
Jason Sautel, he's everywhere. Read his book, and pretty soon you'll see the movie, no doubt, and then book 2 coming out, and the podcast, which I noticed they canceled this. He talked with John Cooper of Skillet, John Schneider, that was in
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yep.
Yeah, just had a senior moment there.
Oh yeah, no, he's had a bunch of stuff come out since then too, but yeah, he's iconically known for the Dukes of Hazzard, and the
he'll always be Bo Duke to me because I grew up watching the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah,
I agree.
Kevin Sorbo in October, I think it was October, and then is it Joseph Rojas, Seventh Day Slumber? That's quite a little story. I didn't get to listen to the podcast. I just read the little synopsis of it. I was like, wow, that's one you got to listen to. So you get to talk to all these guys, which is really cool. In fact, I think Sonia we had on, it's probably been a few months now. She does have a great story. She's a great guest. What a huge heart. But talking to these guys, tell us a little bit about, talking to these guys and what you get out of it.
What I get out of it is kind of like when, as a firefighter paramedic, my job was to show up on scene and kind of assess and pull the pertinent information out of someone that I needed to get to be able to bring them the help that they needed, for their injury or illness. Well, what I do in my interview is I do the same thing. I like to assess the story, assess the person as we're talking. And like John Cooper, for instance, his music that he does is amazing. But I got to talk to him and take it to a level where he started disclosing to me about some personal family issues he was going through with his mother-in-law and dementia. And I love just bringing the person out, because so many times it's the personalities that people are drawn to. And I'm more drawn to the person because I really love good story. And so personally, it's blessed me on so many levels to be able to learn from their personal stories, but to also bring them into public so everyone else can hear them. That's been the biggest blessing of all.
And Jason, the book has been out for a while now, The Rescuer, but hearing anything new? What are you hearing from folks about it?
Oh, every day I try to keep it on low keel, but I get over 200 emails and messages a day about the book. Wow. And yeah, they come through, my Facebook page, because it's, just blown up to 700 and something thousand people. So people message me through that, but I love to hear the way that it's personally affected people and how sharing of my story has helped them, and sharing my faith has helped them, because vice versa, when they tell me how it affected them, it blesses me and it helps my faith. It encourages my faith and wants me to grow closer to Christ too. So that's the greatest thing about it. And I mean, it's been out since September of 2020, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. Every day I think, okay, sales are going to slow. They don't. They just keep continuing to grow. So that's been the biggest blessing about the Rescuer.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Hey, and your wife, Christy, was instrumental and still is in your life just so much. She's got to be pumped, right, of what God's doing.
Oh yeah, she's so excited. Our biggest thing right now is talking like because we're done with the script of the movie and we're working on it. Is her and I have fun playing back and forth on who's going to play who, and we joke a lot about that and stuff. So,
so who do you have cast for right now for you and Christy, Jason?
You know, we don't know who we're going with, but the other day I almost got hit with a skillet when I told her. Well, I said, Christy, I think Selma Hayek would make a great Christy, and if that happens, I think I should just play me. Yeah, that didn't work out so well, you know.
Yeah, Jason, don't do that. Don't.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna let the pros handle that. I'm gonna let them cast because I guess the way I see me, other people don't see me. So I'm gonna let the professionals handle that.
Jason and Christy's next podcast talks about marriage and how to endure, no doubt.
Things not to say to your wife.
Yeah. You know, my biggest thing in life is you don't learn from what you do right. You learn from what you do wrong. And that's why I'm always learning, my friends.
That's a good point.
Always a great guest, Jason. We love hanging with you. Let's catch up sometime in the spring. JasonSautel.com. Read the book. Check out his Facebook. Listen to the podcast and get ready because 2022 is, it's just bursting at the seams. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.